Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, here to bring you my review of the official Season 6 premiere episode of The Loud House. Today's episode is titled, Present Danger. First we'll discuss the plot, and then my thoughts and critiques with my final score. So, let's get right into it. In this episode, Lincoln's special 12th birthday present from his father and grandfather goes missing, and although he thinks Flip, Scoots, and Chandler could be the culprits, it turns out to be none of them. With a little help from Lisa, and in David Steele fashion, Lincoln successfully tracks down the real culprit, who turns out to be Rusty, who had been planning this theft all along. The episode ends with Lincoln unwrapping what turns out to be a sentimental family gift, the first issue of the David Steele comic series, and he, his father, and grandfather take a joyride in the spy car Lisa upgraded from Lola's princess car, with of course Lola following them in raging hot pursuit. Well, that concludes the plot of the episode, so now we come to my thoughts and critiques. Fun fact, this is the first season premiere episode since Season 1 to not be a full-length 22-minute episode, and the first since Season 2 to have a title not end with the suffix ED. Sort of feels weird breaking the tradition, but given how this episode turned out, I'm willing to say, to hell with tradition! Anyway, the biggest selling point, and in my opinion the best part of the entire episode, was how it was an homage to the James Bond franchise. This included a lot of references that were pretty easy to pick up. Lynn Sr. wanted his milkshake shaken, not stirred. Lincoln and the suspected thieves playing Go Fish was like the poker scene from Casino Royale. And of course, with Lincoln's party being David Steele themed, the kids dressed up as comic book villains that have a shared connection to the James Bond universe. For example, Clyde's Oddbob persona is based on the character Oddjob, and Stella's Paddywhack persona is based on Emilio Largo. Even Rusty paid tribute to dressing up as Ernst Blofeld, cat included, but I'll talk more about him in just a bit. Then there's the James Bond style adventure Lincoln had when he was tracking down the thief. I think it should go without saying how totally awesome it looked with Lincoln doing all those crazy stunts and using those technologically advanced gadgets, and you can thank Lisa for helping her brother the same way she helped him out in the episode High Crimes. You know, I was actually surprised none of Lincoln's friends joined in to solve the mystery, but it's honestly not that big of a loss in the grand scheme of things. This was Lincoln's story to tell, and the writers wanted everyone to know it. We also get a little backstory into why David Steele has become such a big staple to Lincoln's character since Season 5, and it's the kind of revelation that makes me appreciate those comics a lot more than I used to. The 12th birthday is a Loud family landmark, and with it comes a present that has been passed down from one Loud boy to another, and that would be the first edition of the David Steele comic series. It started with Lincoln's great-grandfather giving it to his son, aka Lincoln's Gramps Leonard, when he was 12 years old, Lynn Sr. getting it when he was 12, and the tradition would continue with Lincoln getting it when he turned 12, and I would assume Lincoln will pass the comic on to his son when the time comes. If anything, this episode, at least from how I see it, proves that Lincoln having an interest in David Steele is not some thrown together idea to replace Ace Savvy after what happened in Kings of the Con. The comics have a meaningful and long-standing family history, and there's some sentimental rite of passage to the comics when a boy in the family turns 12 years old. Just like how Ace Savvy served as the basis for how Lincoln and Clyde became friends, David Steele serves the purpose of bringing the Loud family a little bit closer, and it's hard to deny the specialness of what is considered an important family heirloom. Moving on from that, I liked how the one behind the stolen present wasn't so predictably obvious, especially in the case of Chandler when he was feeling up the presents. He, Flip, and Scoots were all cleared of their crimes, minus Chandler for stealing Gus's secret recipe for garlic knots. It's just garlic, people. And the last person you would ever think to steal anything from Lincoln on his birthday was the one and only Rusty Spokes, so let's talk about him. I'll start off by saying I really appreciated how much involvement he had to the plot. He wasn't so much a side character this time. Instead, he was the antagonist, but with a friendly motive. I also liked how he didn't do what he did just to stick it to Lincoln or something that would make him look greedy or selfish. What he did may have been a tad shady and questionable, but his motives were all in good fun, never meant to hurt anybody, and he just doesn't look like a backstabbing kind of guy. Or does he? Still, there was something about him and his plan that seemed kinda off. In the beginning, Rusty assumed he and his friends were not going to bring any birthday gifts, meaning he was the only one to not give Lincoln anything on the day of the party. However, he said he had been planning this present theft for months with the help of his cousin Derek. Just as a quick side note, you have to wonder if Derek can hack into more than just video games. Just saying. Anyway, as much as I enjoyed how Rusty served a much bigger role in this episode compared to every other episode featuring him, his plan was a little confusing when you think about it. The build-up to the revelation was kinda ambiguous since there was no evidence to suggest the idea Rusty was the one behind the stolen present. If the writers had played it up in the beginning with Rusty being asked where his birthday gift was, he could have said he had one, but it just wasn't with him, and that it was going to to be something special when Lincoln finally got it. That could have easily laid the groundwork building towards the big reveal. Then there's the matter of who might have played a role in Rusty's plan. Although I'll give him a point for being able to sneak the present away while no one was looking, what threw me off at the end was how it seemed to indicate he had masterminded the whole scheme and no one in Lincoln's family was aware of it. I mean, you could make the case by saying everyone else in the family, including Gus, were simply pretending to not know who was behind the theft, and maybe that was the implied idea they were going for, but to have no direct confirmation at the end just makes it seem like Rusty did everything on his own without giving Lincoln's family any prior warning, creating an unintended panic. If Rusty had said everyone, or at least one other person from the Loud family was in on his plan from the start, and or maybe had some of the partygoers step out from the shadows, that would have been enough to explain how this adventure was successfully carried out all the way from Gus's Games and Grub to the Dairyland condo construction site. Still, I'm not going to come down hard on the ending with all things considered. Rusty did in fact have a birthday present, an epic mystery-solving adventure that put Lincoln's passion for David Steele to the ultimate test, and his friend absolutely loved it. You could tell Lincoln was having a lot of fun doing all that spy stuff, so it was a win-win for the both of them. The only other thing that kinda bugs me is how Lori was the only sister not seen at Lincoln's party. She's been there for every other on-screen birthday party since the show first began, but for her to be completely absent on Lincoln's birthday without an explanation, not even sparing a second for a quick FaceTime phone chat, just comes off as disappointing. She could have been like most of her other sisters and just sit in the background with no dialogue, and that would have been fine. But hey, I guess fairway is more important than family, so sadly it just is what it is. Overall, even though I don't consider myself to be that big of a James Bond fan, I greatly appreciated the homage this episode paid to the franchise, and in my opinion, it was the best episode when it came to Lincoln acting like David Steele. We got to learn why those comics are so important to him and his family, the mystery-solving adventure Lincoln undertook was very fun and exciting, and despite some of the more confusing and ambiguous parts to his plan, Rusty had one of his best performances in the series so far. I'm still bummed out how the animators just couldn't give Lori one minor cameo in the background while everyone else got to have one, but getting reappearances from Leonard, Loud, and Gus were nice substitutes. If anything else is to be considered at the time of this video being made, I will go on record and say this is an automatic top 10 episode for season 6. With that said, I give Present Danger a 9.4 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of Present Danger. I will end this review with one very important reminder. According to Lisa, her technology is no match for Lola's wrath, and that was made crystal clear when she found out her brother, father, and grandfather were joyriding in her tricked out princess car. If there's one thing the first season taught us, never get Lola mad. We all know what she's capable of when she's mad. If she can keep pace with her own car when she's pushed over the edge, I would hate to be Lincoln by the time she catches up to him. So all I can say is, drive Lincoln! Drive for your life! But anyway, as far as the rest of the episode goes, what did you guys think of it? Love it? Hate it? Something you would add? Change? Keep it as it is? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest Loud House content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.